Hey everyone, how you doing? This is Amon Green, Green Bay Packers all-time leader in rushing, and you're watching Packers Total Access Live, your daily source for Packer content. Go Pack, go!
Good morning, PTA listeners. What's up? November 11th, the morning after. I say morning, man. It's 2:00. What am I talking about? Morning. It's been one of those mornings. We may or may not have slept in today, and rightfully so. We were up to about 2:30 editing videos and getting audios out for the podcast listeners. So obviously a late morning for your boy Clayton here. Just want to get in here and talk some football with you guys and gals after that tough loss to the Eagles. Watching social media, been trying to lay back in the shadows a little bit, kind of see how everybody's feeling, that type of thing. So this could be a little bit different episode. All right. Let's just start it off. This is PTA. Welcome. If this is your first time tuning in, appreciate you making us part of your morning. Obviously, we wish it was a victory Monday morning, or Tuesday morning, I should say. Instead, it's going to be a reaction Monday/Tuesday. It still feels like a Monday, obviously. So as Coach Lynn says in the chat, go Pack as always. Yes, sir. A. McCrae says too depressed. There you go. Listen, if you're one of those fans that you're depressed this morning, right? You're discouraged, what have you. I get it. I understand, man. If you're a fan that's still optimistic about the fact that the Packers are the number 7 seed and they control their own destiny the rest of the year, I understand that too. I get it, right? I probably lean more toward that side of the fence than the crap, there's no hope. I had somebody reach out again this morning. I get this way more than probably other podcasters. I don't know if it's a good thing. It's not good for business because the shock value typically drives the ratings, right? It drives the views. People will show, oh man, look at this guy went off the rails. He was pissed off about this and that. You guys know that's not how I fan. My mind immediately goes to what happened? Why did it happen? Let's kind of break this thing down. Let's reverse engineer it. Let's try not to make assumptions or clickbaity comments based off of emotion, right? And if you think that's a boring way for someone to fan and you don't want to listen to that content, I understand that as well. I get it. I completely get it. But that's just how I am. That's the fan that I am. But I had somebody reach out and saying, once again, like they always do, man, you're the even kill podcaster. You're the guy who doesn't overreact. And I appreciate that. I appreciate the kind words. The reality is I'm frustrated too. I listen to some people's responses, and I really don't mean this in a disrespectful way. Let me kick these shoes off. We're going to get comfortable. I tell you, it's going to be a little slower paced podcast. I usually put stuff together and try to be organized. We're just going to hang out, talk ball this morning. I usually try to kind of slow down and understand, all right, where are they coming from? But there's some takes out there that's just, it's frustrating. I'm like, if you probably caught on, I typically don't reply to Packer fan tweets unless somebody asks my opinion. I was raised in a way that you keep your mouth shut until you're spoken to. And if someone wanted your opinion, they would ask for it, right? And if they don't, then they're not going to ask for it. It's that simple. Let me open this Diet Coke, which, by the way, shout out to Diet Coke, man. We got the Santa packs are back. Am I the only person that's a Christmas freak and in the festive stuff? Man, got Santa on a Coke can. Let's get it. Kidding me? It's the most wonderful time of the year. So I try not to respond to people's tweets unless they ask me for my opinion. But man, it's like, in a nutshell, you've got former quarterbacks who are defending Jordan Love saying he did nothing wrong, right? You've got Matt LaFleur fans, which I kind of fall into that group, who are defending Matt LaFleur as if he didn't do anything wrong. You've got, I don't want to say any names here, but you've got former wide receiver/wide receiver people who pretend like the receivers did nothing wrong. You've also got people that are showing clips of Aaron Banks getting beat like a drum last night on the offensive line. And then you've got offensive line coaches commenting, talking about why the offensive line didn't do anything wrong. And I'm sitting there going, okay, biased opinion, biased opinion, biased opinion, biased opinion. I have combed through social media for an hour and I've learned nothing about this game, right? So what I did was I put a filler out there on Twitter, and there's a little method to the madness. I put a filler out there saying, hey, if you had to pick one, no matter how direct you give instructions to people because you're trying to accomplish something with the tweet, they'll always go against the rule and give you 5 different things and this and that, muddy the water. And I try to respond and say, hey, please, just one. What I'm trying to do is ask, if you had to pick one aspect of the game, what do you think was the most important? What went wrong? If you had to put your finger on, like, okay, if we fix this one thing, and it may not just be one thing, that's not the question though. If you had to pick one thing, what would it be? And what you're trying to do is gauge interest in terms of, all right, what do you think is the biggest problem for the Packers? And again, if you didn't know what the score was, you didn't know the Packers record, you didn't know the standings, you were probably thinking this might be the worst team in the league. Boy, they're in the dumps. That's not the case with this team. You've lost the last 3 games by a combined 9 points, right? Each of those games you lost by 3 points. The 3 losses you haven't lost 3 in a row, you've lost 2 in a row, right? You look at that and you look at how the team's played and inconsistent. My first question would be, well, why are they inconsistent? It's either bad coaching, a young team, young, inexperienced team, or both. I think it falls more on a young, inexperienced team rather than bad coaching, because you can't expect the coach to take the youngest team and get them to play like 10-year vets. You just can't do it, right? At the same time, there's decisions that Matt LaFleur makes that I disagree with. Not that I know more about football than him. Lord knows that's not true. But there are times when I feel like that, you know? So I put the tweet out and I'm compiling information. I'm going to try to get it down to 4 choices, and then we're going to do a poll question on that. In the meantime, you guys know the best way to support what we do here, if you want to be a part of our community here at PTA, is to join our Patreon group, right? And that is patreon.com/Packer Fan Total Access. We've got a questions for the show chat in there. And it's not to have a conversation, for people to have a conversation. It's in there. It's fire questions away. We'll read them off on the air as if they were a super chat. And we also honor super chats here too. So if you guys got a question, just fire away the super chats. We'll hit those. We'll try to hit with the normal comments as well if we have time. So what I asked was, I need feedback. Okay. Comment below your biggest complaint about the Packers team so far. If you could only choose one, what do you think needs fixed first and foremost? No one respond to any other person's complaint. I don't want this to turn into an argument. I just want to have a conversation on the show about those complaints. Thank you. All right. Thanks, everyone. So hopefully that didn't come across as demeaning or anything like that. But I just wanted to kind of get a feel, because, again, I know how I feel about the game. Ironically, when I launched this podcast, this YouTube show, you know what my main goal was, my main objective was? This is going to crack y'all the hell up because I have failed miserably at it. And I don't know if it's even possible to do a podcast like this. My main goal was to not give my personal opinion, but give other people a platform to other Packer fans to kind of voice their opinion, and then me react to their opinion, as opposed to, here's what they need to do. Here's what they need to do. Here's what they need to do. Obviously, it's impossible to do a podcast that way. But this show is going to be kind of geared around that, okay? So let's jump into it. First of all, there was a comment that came in. And again, it's supposed to be questions for the show. So when people make comments, I'm not mad that you made a comment, but just understand that it's supposed to be, okay, this is supposed to work like super chats, essentially, right? And then I can fire a question in there and then use everybody's response. So again, it's just giving the listeners, the loyal listeners of PTA, a voice, so we can kind of see how they feel on the show. All right. So this comment, anyway, Pack90 says, I feel our interior O-line held up better after the Jenkins injury. I'm interested to see how they hold up against the Giants D-line this week. I kind of agreed with that last night, Pack90. And again, we'll go into the question, but I want to respond to this. When Elton left, I literally said out loud, I wrote down the negative mark on the notes and said, all right, Elton Jenkins has left the game. And I thought, now we're going to find out if Elton's a problem or if he's actually holding this thing together. I got to agree with Pack90. I didn't miss him. I don't mean to take a shot at an injured player, but never at any point in the game did I feel like, boy, we're really missing Elton out there. I just didn't feel like that. I don't know if anybody else agrees with that or not. However, let's get to the question I just asked, though, okay? Elijah Gwynn probably won't surprise anyone, but predictable play calling. And if I disagree with these guys, please understand, I'm not saying that I'm right and you're wrong. I'm just giving my opinion along with responding to your comments, okay? When you say that, that's a very, very, very vague statement, right? And it's hard to answer this question with any specifics, Elijah. I got you there, man. I understand. But when you say predictable play calling, the problem I have with that answer is how many times last night we seen receivers running wide open. Guys, it got to the point where the announcers are ISO camming receivers running wide open down the field, right? Crossers, climbs, dig routes. And it's like, man, I don't know why he didn't throw that. One particular where Jordan scrambled for like 5 yards as he tucks it to run and moves up in the pocket, right? He's literally got a guy wide. He's just got a little lob pass over the middle, and he's going to pick up about 20, 25 yards. Instead, he decides to tuck it, run, and get 5 yards, right? The great quarterbacks, they probably throw a little pump fake or even act like they're going to run and then just toss it over there and they pick up the game. You know, Jordan didn't do that. That's one of the many plays last night where I felt like, okay, that one was on Jordan, just like there was stuff on Josh Jacobs, right? We talked about that last night. You got receivers running the same routes. Josh Jacobs and Malik Heath running the same spot and just sitting down, and Jordan going, guys, y'all were supposed to mesh. He's expecting them to mesh. And then you're going to hit the open guy coming out of the window. And then because he's looking at that, waiting for them to, you know, crap or get off the pot, they just kind of sit in the same spot zone together. Matt LaFleur didn't design that, right, Elijah? Like when you say predictable play calling. Now, everybody is highlighting the 4th down run there, right? That the Eagles called that play out. And now there's somebody going back and finding the many times that they called inside zone, inside zone, inside zone. We've been very vocal. I want to see more outside zone runs. I don't remember seeing one last night. I could be completely wrong. I don't remember seeing one. Again, that's you, Matt LaFleur, molding the offense to fit Josh Jacobs' running style. You could say that's an excuse for Matt LaFleur. I'm not trying to make an excuse for Matt LaFleur. I've said it over and over and over. I want more outside zone, even with Josh Jacobs. But at the same time, what you understand why Matt LaFleur is not calling more outside zone runs is because that's not Josh Jacobs' running style. We've now went from wide zone boot scheme to duo and power looks, right? So, and pin and pull, things like that. So it is what it is. You know, you signed a great football player in Josh Jacobs, and you've molded the offense around his strengths is essentially what's happened, right? So, so again, Elijah Gwynn, he says predictable play calling. Got it, buddy. Bungie Cheddarbug says unimaginative play calling. What happened to the old LaFleur? My question is, Bungie, once again, what do you mean by the old LaFleur? Again, you kind of see the common thread when you ask these questions to fans. They're very, very vague answers. It's not, hey, if it had been unimaginable play calling, I want more play action bootleg plays, get on the perimeter with 3 window. Heck yeah, got it. That's a solid answer, right? But when it's just what happened to the old LaFleur, what do you mean by the old LaFleur? He's getting raked over the coals for motion. We're still running motion, right? He's getting raked over the coals by some fans for being too aggressive. He's getting raked over the coals by other fans for being too conservative and running the ball in a 4th and 1. Guys, listen, I got to be real here. I'm going to be honest for a minute. I'm always honest. I shouldn't say that. I'm going to be very, very upfront. If the argument is we should not run on 4th and 1, I can't get on board with that. Everybody's pointing out that they called out the inside zone run. In that situation right there, if you can't gain a yard, you don't deserve to win the ball game. Now, why did it get blown up? You got to ask yourself that, right? Why did the play get blown up? Well, first of all, when you think about it, oh boy, they've changed the settings again on me. This is unbelievable, man. Absolutely unbelievable. Oh boy. All right, we're going to roll with the Viking purple today, I guess. Let's go just black offset for a second here. I don't know why StreamYard just decides to change stuff randomly in the moment. I looked down and it was giving me a notification to click this, clicked it, and it changed it to change the color. Anyway, so with the 4th down call, I lost my train of thought there. Thank you, StreamYard. You guys are awesome. With the 4th down call, you're not going to convince me you should pass in that situation, right? And the offensive lineman got their ass kicked on that play. Everybody's talking about they called the play out, they called the play out, they called the play out. Guys, do you think that they were going to catch them off guard running an inside zone on a 4th and 1? You're not going to catch anybody off guard. You look at the hat count and go, do we have a shot? And the quarterback's got to make that decision, right? Jordan's got to make that decision. Do we have a shot? We do. Okay, let's try to run it. If they blow the offensive line up, they were the better team on that play. It's that simple. I'm not going to be convinced that, hey, you should pass in that situation. And again, Bungie Cheddar didn't say that specifically. I'm just adding that to it. That's one example of where people are saying, oh, he's running the same play. It's predictable. It's like, yeah. All right. Packers Girl 79 says, stop beating ourselves with penalties. Agreed. It's tough, man. It's tough. The penalties are tough. And listen, I know people hate it when fans blame the refs, but boy, there was a tweet that went out. I'm gonna show you guys. I'm gonna read this tweet. I need to show it to you really, but I'm just gonna read it to you. I actually just quote tweeted it out earlier this morning. Invisible Insider tweeted this out. Okay, he's got 15,000 followers. Decent account, right? Clay Martin is the head official for Monday Night Football. We had the Dirtbag watch earlier in the week, right? In his career, visiting dogs, ATS, 40 and 18, 69% win percentage. Okay. Visitors plus 3.5 or less, ATS, 20 and 3, 87%. Eagles specifically, when Clay Martin is the head ref, 4 and 2, ATS. That's against the spread, by the way. 66% win rate. He runs the same crew that almost got suspended last season. Good luck, Packer fans. So it says this was before the game started. This is at 1:53 p.m. Eastern time yesterday. And again, well, did the officials decide the game? Not necessarily, but boy, oh boy, that tush push where they left a second and a half early, that was interesting. Let me get me a drink. I apologize. So again, when you see that type of stuff, it's frustrating. Hey, FBI, says Turt. I don't know if he's yeah. I think I know what he means there, but we'll just leave that one alone, Turt. So, stop beating ourselves with penalties. Agreed. We do commit penalties, obviously, right? And again, why do y'all think that is? Do you think that's bad coaching? I think it's part of the problem, right? It's got to fall on the coaches. And immediately when you say bad coaching, people think Matt LaFleur. People think Adam Stenavich, right? I'm just wondering, what the hell does Luke Buckus have new picks on people over there or something that he keeps his job? Because the reality is the offensive line has gotten worse ever since he took over as O-line coach when Stenavich was promoted to OC because our coaching staff got poached, right? Again, if it's on coaching, Matt LaFleur ain't out there working with the offensive line's technique. That's on Coach Buckus. But immediately you bypass that. Not that Packers girl does, but we as fan base typically bypass that, and it falls at the feet of the head coach, right? So now he hired him. He's allowing it to happen by keeping that coach, obviously. But that's the one coach, the one assistant, like that I look up and go, boy, everybody's calling for Bisaccia's job, Adam Stanovich's job, Matt LaFleur's play calling, all this, and Luke Buckus just back there cashing a check, and that offensive line's playing like cheeks. I'm gonna give y'all a spoiler alert. The people who said offensive line was their top worry, that's your boy right here. I think a good deal of blame from last night needs to go on Jordan for not throwing to the open receivers, not getting to the proper answer, right? But you kind of see how it went in the first half where he had a lot of pressure in his face, and you can understand why you get antsy. He settled down a little bit there in the fourth quarter, but also that's when the Eagles kind of started playing the clock like we talk about, right? The clock now becomes your opponent. So, but there you go. Packers girl, thank you for the comment. All right, next, Jennifer Wright. This O-line is, I don't even know what that word means, and can't blame Jordan for dropping his eyes. Pass blocking is bad with stunts, is what she said, I guess, and run blocking is awful. Penalties looked unprepared and surprised each week. Lack of identity on offense, all creativity died. Needs CPR stat. So there you go. So Jen, essentially what she's saying here, offensive line is a problem, right? And I love the detail that she provided. Thank you for that, Jen. Thank you so much for the detail. So that's where I'm at. And here's what's crazy is when you played the Eagles in the playoffs last year, when that game was over, our post-game show, we immediately shifted the focus to what does this team need? This team needs offensive line. We got beat in the trenches, boys and girls, and we need to fix that. That's immediately where we went to. So what'd you do in the offseason? You spent a second-round pick on Anthony Belton, who's not playing right now. You went into free agency, and everybody says it's a $77 million contract for Aaron Banks. However, that is a one plus 3 more years, essentially, is the way that's set up. You could get out of that contract this year if you want, save a little money if you think he's not the guy, right? So Goody agreed with us based off of what I always say. If you want to know how where people's priorities lie, look at their checkbook and look at their calendar, right? Well, his calendar, obviously he spent time scouting because he went out and drafted a second-round offensive lineman thinking we need offensive line help. He spent the checkbook on a left guard. It just looks like he missed on Aaron Banks. That's what it looks like. That's part of the game too. This Goody is another person, once again, fielding the youngest team in the NFL. The people who want Matt LaFleur fired are all saying this roster is loaded with talent. What makes you think they're loaded with talent? We've seen Wicks drop a crucial play. And again, the receiver apologists are on Twitter going, hey, it's hard to run full sprint down the field, make that catch. Everything about the NFL is hard. So we're just going to, the receivers are off the hook now. Listen, the Watson, you guys know I'm fired up about Christian Watson. I think he's better than he's ever looked. Last night, he made a crucial play there in the fourth quarter that set up that score, right, to give us a shot down the stretch. But that ball that bounces off his helmet, I got to be honest, and I said this in our in-game chat over in the YouTube chat. It was a low football IQ play. On that particular play, if you let him pick that pass off, right, as opposed to trying to play defense and knock it down, essentially he's going to be down inside the 10. Made the same comment about Xavier McKinney intercepting a pass earlier in the year, and everybody raked me over the coals for it. Guys, it's non-debatable. That's a high football IQ play to let them pick that pass off right there. Either that or go for the catch. The problem is Watson didn't even try to catch the ball. He misjudged the ball. Both of them kind of did, to be honest with you, the DB and the receiver. But Watson made that catch the last 2 weeks where he just turns around, it falls right in his lap. If he turns around, the ball is right here, and the DB is over the top, right? And you got a 6'4" receiver that should be able to go up and make that catch. Now, how do I know that? We've got definitive video evidence of the ball hitting him in the damn helmet. So think about this. Your 6'4" receiver keeps his back to the ball, runs straight to the DB and plays defense, and the ball hits him in the back of the helmet. Guys, I don't care what your football experience is. I don't care where your bias lie. You're not going to convince me that was not the receiver's fault in that situation. It's just not going to happen. It's physically impossible for it to not be the receiver's fault when it hits him in the back of the helmet. What that tells me is he misjudged the ball. And listen, receivers do that from time to time. Watson's been on a heater since he got back. He's going to make mistakes too. I'm not saying he's a bad football player. Nobody's saying that. But you got to call a spade, man. The ball hit him in the helmet. And on top of that, it was a bad football IQ play. If you get to the point, what I mean by that is if you get to the point like, oh crap, I don't have a shot at this ball. Well, you made a mistake. You misjudged it. Let's set that to the side, right? But when you make that decision, oh crap, he's overthrowing it. Let him intercept it here. If he intercepts it here, I tackle him. They're down inside the 10 as opposed to us risking getting a punt blocked and having to perfectly pin them back. I could be wrong. You guys correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that ended up being a touchback. What's that do? That costs you roughly 15, 20 yards, depending on if it was going to be inside the 5, 15 yards of invisible yardage, which adds up in a game where you lost by 3 points and you held their offense to 10 points, which, by the way, shout out to the defense, man. The defense looked great, right? The defense looked great. That's a positive coming out of this game because we talked about how the Eagles had a really good offense. Their passing game, guys, was humming. And we shut it down with the exception of having Evan Williams on an island in a cover 3 look. I'm pretty sure it was a cover 3 look. He was playing the hash almost like it was a cover 6, but I think it was a cover 3 look. We'll watch it on the All 22 and get you guys an answer on Chalk Talk. I think he played that as well as he could, man. Even backpedaling at the top of the stem and then made his break, was right there on the ball. Devonta Smith just made a great play. That's the former number 10 overall pick in the draft. And you guys correct me if I'm wrong. Did he win the Heisman or am I getting him mixed up with somebody else? I think he won the Heisman as well. So it's a good football player, man, making a good play on another good football player. That's what it is, right? So anyway, and again, I'm just kind of spitting these thoughts out, and I'm not saying anybody's wrong and I'm right. I'm just giving you guys my opinion while reading everybody else's opinion. And these are great too, man. You guys crushed this over in the Patreon group. So thank y'all so much. Nick McSwain, kind of broad, but I would say execution. There's times when players are open and Love is missing the read. Correct. Agreed. Screen set up with a hat count and someone whiffs on a block. Agreed. Huge gains called back by penalties. Agreed. Honestly, feel bad for LaFleur. That describes kind of how I feel. And that kind of describes how Ryan Schlipp felt this morning as well. Okay. So I'm going to play a clip for you guys. I'm coming back to these. All right. Cause I definitely, I want to finish them. You guys, like I said, this is good stuff. This is good conversation piece. But since we're kind of on this topic, okay. Since like Nick McSwain said, I honestly feel bad for LaFleur. We're going to come back to that. Okay. So we'll come back to that. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up a DM here from me and Tim. I sent him over a video from the PackerNet podcast this morning. If you guys are not subscribed to PackerNet podcast, that's where you can find this podcast. Okay. In this show in podcast form, and you can get Ryan Schlip's PackerNet podcast, which is a phenomenal podcast. Me and Ryan don't always agree. All right. But the thing I love about Ryan is he puts some freaking thought into his comments, into his opinion, way more than he does his job way better than I do my job. That's why you guys need to be listening to this show. Okay. Here's a 4-minute clip. I'm going to pause it in between, and he goes on a bit of a rant. So you guys are probably going to enjoy this a little bit. All right. But this is him responding to all the social media stuff that we were talking about earlier. And if you're wondering what this video is right here, you guys need to go watch that. It's from ML Football Training. An elderly Kansas City Chiefs female fan has gone viral for going ballistic on the Bills and Josh Allen. She said to hit Josh Allen in the nuts. It is hilarious. You're talking about a passionate fan. That's what that is up there, if y'all were wondering what we were laughing about. So anyway, here we go. Ryan Schlip from the PackerNet podcast. We're going to blame this. I was reading a comment. We're going to play this. We'll pause it in between. Here it is. I'll try to get the volume right for you guys and gals as well. Here we go. Let's have some fun with this.
Intelligence are the things that they're saying. But I'm coming over here because I'm like, I just want to see what the national people doing. And almost.
So he said he got away from the local Packers stuff. And like, all right, what are the national media saying? Here we go.
Every single one of the major Packers people are saying this ridiculous. I can't believe you would run out of shotgun on 4th and 1. We have been over this so many times. This has been litigated in the court of social media so many times that if you don't know this, I don't know how you have the position that you have. Unless you are just a casual observer of football who doesn't spend any time on social media where these things have been discussed ad nauseum, you should know that you can't say that anymore unless you're an idiot. Because running out of shotgun has a high success rate. Also, we've converted 3rd and 4th and shorts the entire game running the ball. We just did it several minutes prior to, but this didn't work. And because in your brain, anything that doesn't go the way that you want it to go, you immediately pin it on Matt LaFleur because you're freaking brain dead.
That right there, guys, is the absolute truth. You're not going to hear more truth than that statement. We were running the ball on those situations and out of the gun and picking up first. I think there was one on a 2nd and long. We ran the football and gashed the hell out of them. I'm like, great freaking call. Thank you for sticking with the run right there, right? Because the people were saying, we got to pass. Get away from the run. We got to pass. We got to pass. And we throw an interception, and what do? Matt LaFleur and his stupid play calling, like, bub, we had 2 people running open on that combination, on that route combo, and he throws an interception, or the fumble in this case, right, where he gives up the play. It's like, you got to know situationally, if you fumble that football, you take 3 points off the board, and you most likely lose the turnover battle, which both ended up being true. The reason the middle lane ended up tied 0-0 is because you fumbled the football right there. You literally tried to do too much when you should have taken a sack or just thrown the ball away. And then you take the field goal. You're up 3-0 in the middle late. They did not score because your defense was playing absolutely solid, and easy math. The ball game's tied at the end, and you're going for a win with the field goal on that last drive, as opposed to trying to get down there somehow, some way, and tie it up. So again, you lost the middle late, and you lost the turnover battle on one play where it was a bad play by the quarterback. And again, if you want to say it was the offensive line, we'll break that down on Chalk Talk. That'll definitely make Chalk Talk. I may look up after Chalk Talk and go, man, the offensive line's the reason. But again, comes back to what Jen was talking about and others were talking about, right? The offensive line. If Goody whiffed on the left guard that he got in free agency, and he whiffed on the 2nd round pick who's not good enough to start on this offensive line, who I think we would all agree is playing pretty bad, how the hell is that Matt LaFleur's fault? Well, he ain't getting them ready. Okay. Anyway, let's continue.
I can't tolerate that crap anymore. Oh, this conservative play calling. What conservative play calling? You can't see if the receivers are wrong. You don't know what they're doing down the field. But because Jordan Love throws a check down, in your mind, that means Matt LaFleur called in the headset and said, Jordan, here's the play. Throw it 1 yard down the field to Jacobs, and that's it. Ignore everybody else. That's what I want you to do. Is that what you think is happening? Is that?
And listen, people are doing that because they're posting this in real time, and I haven't seen the all 22. All we're all watching is the TV copy. How the hell do you think that's a bad play call when you cannot see down the field the combinations, the side adjustments, the post snap reading of the defense, and we're all trying to figure that out watching the all 22 four times through. How do you know that initially? Again, people have went into their corners and said, "Here's the problem, and you're not going to convince me otherwise." That's what's going on.
And how stupid you are? Is that what you actually believe is happening? Even though they're showing you the replays, they're showing you guys wide open down the field the entire game, and Jordan isn't pulling the trigger, but you believe that Jordan dinking and dunking is Matt LaFleur's fault. I absolutely cannot tolerate that level of stupidity. We're watching a game where Jordan is not comfortable in the pocket. He will not keep his eyes down the field for more than a second because he's panicking. And he's panicking because our offensive line is dog crap. And he doesn't trust our receivers because our receivers are dog crap. We're watching our quarterback fail the coach. We're watching our offensive line fail the coach. We're watching the tight ends and the receivers and the running backs fail the coach. And they will not execute, and they're failing over and over and over again. And anytime we are given any insight as to what's going on down the field, we see over and over and over again Matt LaFleur is calling the exact right plays to get people open. And
again, he's not just saying this, guys. The broadcasters are showing you replays of guys running wide open across the middle of the field. And it's not like, occasionally that'll happen, and then you go back and watch the all 22. Go, yeah, but Jordan can't get that throw off. He's got a guy in his face. On those particular plays, he's already off that read and somewhere else. Teams study coaching tendencies, right? They study, the concepts that we like to run the most. We always talk about dagger and slot cross and wolf and curl flat and all these different, kind of the ones that are the staple of Matt LaFleur's offense. But also teams also watch the tape and they scout these quarterbacks and they go, okay, if 78% of the time when they're in a trips left, he throws to this underneath route, then all we got to do is bait him into throwing that underneath route and have at least a +1 hat count to tackle them for a short loss. That stuff's going on behind the scenes with other teams scouting. And then when the play happens on the zeroed in TV copy, fans are going, Matt LaFleur's too conservative. And here's the thing. With this whole Matt LaFleur hate thing, it's every year there's something that's popular in the fan base that they want to latch onto and go, all right, this is it, guys. This is what we're complaining about this year, right? That's the thing this year. That's the thing. Every year there's something that we kind of remember earlier in the year, it was Rich Bisaccia, right? When was the last time they called for Rich Bisaccia's job, guys? Now we're on to Matt LaFleur. It's just this constant. I am too lazy to watch every snap multiple times in the all 22. I'm too lazy to do that. So we've got to find one person that's at fault here. One. And that's going to be the scapegoat. That's going to be the guy we complain about. Oh, yeah, look at this group. Yeah, they did that. And it becomes this fun, popular thing to do. The memes. You know what cracks me up? Is the people that are making fun of Matt LaFleur for going over to the desk and looking at the tablet. If he hadn't done that, people would be going, look at him. He's just standing on the sideline, not doing anything. Go talk to your quarterback. Go draw something up. Why is he just standing there? He's just defeated. He's given up. Instead, he's like, let me get the hell away from this noise. Let me go over here and all right, what are they doing? What are they here? All right, there. Guys, the people who are making fun of him for that, they couldn't draw up a damn play to save their life. I challenge them. Here's how I know. You can say, hey, man, people that tweet that type of stuff out, Coach Lynn knows about this. Other coaches know about this. The people who tweet that type of stuff out, do me a favor. Give me a 20-minute breakdown. I want you to get on the telestrator and tell me what went wrong here. What are they actually doing? They'll never do it. I've invited people on to Chalk Talk before that disagree with me strongly in other chats, and they just go, oh, yeah, funny, and they just change the subject. because they know when the lights are on and this camera's rolling and that microphone light is green and we're actually talking ball, breaking down X's and O's, breaking down tendencies, breaking down splits, breaking down technique, breaking down concepts, breaking down route combinations, breaking down is it a pick aside, is it a high lower, is it a true progression? All these things, they don't have a damn clue how football works. And they damn sure won't put themselves in the environment, in the arena to go, oh boy, they know I don't know football now. So they just want to rant. And listen, if people want to rant away. That's why I don't respond to other people's tweets unless they ask me my opinion. And that's not from any level of authority, like I know more than them. It's just my mama taught me, unless somebody asks you a question, keep your mouth shut. And if you ever open your mouth before I ask you to, I'm going to smack you in it. That's how I was raised. So, all right, let's continue.
All we hear is Matt LaFleur needs to be fired because of play calling. Why? Well, because he's running the ball. Why would you run the ball? And then on one side, we got people saying, I can't believe how much we're running in second and long. And then somebody else comes along.
Here we go. I can't believe we're running in second and long. Listen.
And says, why would you run play action out of second and long? And I'm like, well, what's the problem with doing that? Well, nobody would run it out of second and long.
We just did.
So nobody's going to believe it. Oh, yeah. Except for the fact that he does run it out of second and long. And that's what everybody's upset about. You guys don't know what the hell you're talking about. It's also worth noting that the Packers are one of the best play action teams and the Eagles are one of the worst play action teams. So running play action in general, kind of a good idea.
I'm glad he hit this because I seen a tweet earlier that the reason that we're losing is we're not running enough play action. We've dwindled our play action count. Right? We've gotten away from play action too much. And he's talking about people complaining that we're running play action because it doesn't work.
But you know what? Let's just find the most ridiculous random things to get upset about. Let's just do that. Because I came into this game deciding Matt LaFleur was the problem. And so when the game doesn't go well, I'm just going to say that Matt LaFleur's the problem. I have no idea what I'm talking about. I'm arguing with people who are telling me, well, nobody's open down the field. You can't see down the field. And there was at least 4 or 5 times we saw they kept showing us, well, so-and-so is open, but I don't know. Jordan just didn't throw it. That's really weird. And then I go on social media and I see, oh, this conservative play calling has got to go. And Jordan's having a terrible night. And the receivers are having a terrible night. And the run game is starting to work. And I go on social media and I see, I don't know why he's running. Why are we running? I don't understand. I don't know what you're talking about.
So anyway, I thought that was really, really good. And again, me and Ryan don't always agree. We laugh about it behind the scenes because we've had really heated conversations and disagreed in the past. But that's being a fan, right? Everybody's got the right to disagree. Everybody's got the right to go, well, okay, that's your opinion. This is mine. We can agree to disagree, right? That's the part of what makes fandom so great, right? That makes the game of football so great. But as I was listening to him rant this morning, I was like, gosh, man, we are the same person in this specific situation. And again, it doesn't mean that Matt LaFleur isn't at fault. It doesn't. It doesn't. The answer, the unpopular answer is there are a bunch of people at fault. And with all that being said, you've lost these 3 games for a total of 9 points. What's that tell you? You are in every single ball game, whether it's a bad team or a good team. These people that get upset that you play down to a bad team, right? And you barely squeaked by with that one. And then they don't get upset when you play up to a good team. And it's like, which would you rather have? Would you rather have a team that beats the hell out of the bad teams and loses to the good teams and you get the hell beat out of you by the good teams? Or would you rather have a team that's always going to scheme to have you in the ball game? Again, if you win these 3 games that you lost by 3 points, if you win those, do you understand we've got 1 tie on the season and we are the best team in the NFL? Would you still be complaining? That's the question. I'm genuinely asking. Because if you wouldn't still be complaining, then it's all about you're just going to pout up and get pissy and get upset when we lose ball games. I get upset too. I do. But again, man, you got to keep it real. You've got to keep it focused on what happened, why did it happen. Again, that's just kind of how I see it. So let's go to the chat here real quick, and we're going to get back to the questions for the show. Again, I wanted to do things a little bit different today. J. Cole says, I agree with both sides. I don't think Matt LaFleur should be fired right now, but he ain't blameless either. Yeah, that's it. But again, Jay, that's not going to trigger a dramatic argument on social media, right? And that's why people like to find their corners, pick them. I was trying to get caught up in the chat there. Somebody was saying that we were patronizing douche. Peace out. So cool, man. Hey, guys, if I'm being patronizing, I apologize. I tried to preface it with, I'm going to give you my opinion, right? We're going to hear out other people. We're reading other people's opinions. There's some of these I disagree with, right? So those type of people are the ones that just, I'm right. You need to concede to me and say, hey, listen, he's right. Everyone bow down. He knows everything. Okay. And everyone else just needs to take a back seat because that guy has it all figured out. I don't have it figured out. We're just going through what happened. That's all we're doing here. So if that, I'll tell you this, Bob, whoever it was, Byron Mantooth. Okay. All right. Byron Mantooth, if you're looking for content where everybody agrees with you, I think the show for you, man. This ain't Clayton's Packers Total Access. This isn't Coach Lynn's Packers Total Access or J. Cole's or Jen Wright's or Nick McSwain's or anybody else's. This is Packer Fan Total Access. It's a place where all the fans come together and we have a respectable conversation about it. Again, Ryan wasn't going on the fans just then. He was going at the national media. So why are you getting upset? So, all right, let's move along here. Chuck Jaggers, my man, says, in my opinion, y'all got to quit with these acronyms. Is that an acronym? Is that the proper way of saying that? When you just you kind of shorten the words down to letters? Because I'm not hip at all to the lingo nowadays that I have to ask Emilio and Jacob, what's that mean, guys? Papaw Bailey over here slow. So, in my opinion, it doesn't seem like coach can go against the elite coaches when it's crunch time. We build a finesse team, but we play in one of the coldest cities in the NFL. I thought about that last night, guys. I did. Not that we're a finesse team, but is this team built to play in the cold weather? You know, we're one of the complaints is the receivers dropping passes last night. Is it a coincidence? It's the coldest game so far this year. Well, the other team didn't have a problem catching it. That's a fair point. It doesn't mean that that's not a problem for us, right? So I think that's why they were trying to go a little heavier too and run inside with Josh Jacobs. The problem is that it looks like you whiffed on your offensive line building, and it doesn't help that Elton Jenkins laid out of camp, right? He was a little bit disgruntled, going to the script club and all that, and hanging out. Oh, that training camp. It was so nice to put it behind us because there were just so many things. Aaron Banks was banged up all training camp, so he's kind of been behind the eight ball. You'd like to think a veteran that you pay good money to can figure it out quicker than the younger guys, but, it is what it is, right? So I like what J. Cole said there, though. Matt LaFleur isn't blameless either, right? No doubt about it. All right. So he goes on to say, coach needs to do better on offense when the game is on the line. Tired of 3rd and long and the opposing receiver reminding us how very just mediocre our cornerback room is. See, now I've got to push back there, Chuck, a little bit because I told myself when I was making notes, I wish you guys could see this desk I got. It's covered in the whiteboard stuff so I can write. I got grease notes everywhere. I've got a crap ton of notes. And I promised myself, I put in big, bold letters, I will not complain about the defense because I will feel like such a hypocrite if I complain about the defense because the defense, I thought they did more than enough for us to win that ball game. So I'm not telling Chuck he has to do that or anybody else. I'm just saying me personally, I can't allow myself to complain about the defense today. They did their job. Wasn't perfect. It'll never be perfect. But boy, oh boy, holding the Eagles offense to 10 points with people like Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, Dallas Goedert, who I think he's got 7 tutters on the year. Nick Sirianni, a top 10 winning percentage in the history of the game, and he's already got a Super Bowl ring. And you hold that offensive group, he's an offensive coach, by the way, this is his offensive scheme. You hold them to collectively 10 points. I just can't complain about that. Now, with what he's saying there, with Coach LaFleur can't go up against the elite coaches, I'll push back a little bit, Chuck. I understand what you're saying. It seems like I would change elite coaches to gotta have it games, right? I feel like that's where LaFleur has struggled, if I'm being, completely transparent. But against elite coaches, he owns Sean McVay. And a lot of people think Sean McVay is an elite coach, right? He's had success here lately, if I remember correctly, against Mike Shanahan or Kyle Shanahan, right? He just beat Mike Tomlin. Now, if you're saying none of those guys are elite, then we can just agree to disagree. But when I think of who are the elite coaches in the league, Andy Reid, we beat Andy Reid. What was it? Not last year. I think it was Jordan Love's first year as a starter, right? We beat Andy Reid in Lambeau. So I think he can beat elite coaches. Now, I will say this about Sirianni. Sirianni's got his number. There's no two ways about that, man. Sirianni has Matt LaFleur's number, and I don't feel bad for saying that. Like that's just the reality of that situation, and that could change. Hopefully, it does. But again, what did you guys see last night? You seen our veteran Elton Jenkins go out. When I say our veteran, I mean he's like the only I don't want to say the only veteran on our offensive line, but he's the most aged veteran, right? He's supposed to be the glue for that offensive line because he barks out all the protection calls and everything right at the center position. Zach Tom is definitely our best offensive lineman. I think we would all agree with that. But what did you guys see? Elton Jenkins had to leave the game, and it kind of felt like Sean Ryan plugged in and played pretty decent, but the offensive line was still a problem. I really feel like Sean Ryan wasn't the problem. You guys let me know in the chat if y'all disagree with that. But on their side, you seen Lane Johnson go down, and boy, next thing you know, he's back in the game. They shot that ankle up, and he's good to go. And it's just like that offensive line kind of rallied around Hurts a little bit. I definitely feel like they're better in the trenches, both offensively and defensively. That's wild to think about when you paid all that money for Michael Parsons, But again, Michael Parsons, speed rusher. He can play with power. I don't know, man. Me and Emilio disagreed about this on the postgame show last night, but people seem to think that I know Emilio thought, and PFF agreed with him, that Micah had a great night last night, and I kind of felt like that. I'd rather have all that money tied up in the best three tech. That's why a three tech can push the middle of the pocket. You can kind of cage rush the outside against a mobile quarterback. We've seen what I've seen, and I could be wrong, but Micah Parsons rushing too aggressively outside, allowing Jalen Hurts to step up and out. But again, the defense isn't the problem. Let's move it along here. Bill Brasky in the Patreon group said offensive line. Love is elite when no pressure. Bottom 5 with pressure. Jacobs is great, but imagine if he got consistent holes to run through like Dowdle did last week. That's a very fair point, Bill. So I think Bill's saying offensive line pretty straightforward. Thank you for the straightforward answer there, Bill. I agree with that, right? Emilio, of course. We are missing Travis Glover more and more by the day. So there you go. Man, I did not have this on my bingo card this year. But and by the way, if y'all are wondering, man, those are some pretty stripes on that yard. He didn't do that. Don't let him lie to you. He didn't stripe those up. Jen Wright says, when Willis played quarterback, we game plan to his strengths. Seems like we don't have the personnel to play to Jordan's strengths, or Matt needs to evolve the team to play to its strengths on offense. I love the idea there, Jen. I know you're not really giving an answer of play to his strengths. Specifically, I don't really know what that answer would be there. I feel like Matt did that last night, or else we wouldn't have had receivers running wide open. It's always going to come back to that. I hate that it does because it seems like a cop-out. But when you've got receivers running open and your quarterback's not getting on the ball, it's just hard for me to dive into it. This isn't just about Jordan Love. This was happening with Aaron Rodgers. I remember people complaining about Aaron Rodgers going, he's got a guy open. He needs to throw it. He needs to throw to that guy. And there were some times I agreed with it. Other times I disagreed with it because they might have ran a choice route wrong. And even though they are open, Jordan or Aaron wasn't expecting them to be in that spot. But again, that's a byproduct of having young receivers, kind of is what it is. Got the youngest team in the league. Hate to say it, but it is what it is. Cannonball John in the chat says offensive line last night, Jordan Love was under duress and looked uncomfortable. I agree with that. He did look uncomfortable, especially early, man. He's just like he was rattled, right? JJ was fighting for every yard through contact as he entered the line. Tip your cap to Josh Jacobs, other than him running that wrong route, which, by the way, that made the notes too. We talked about the fumble, right? The other one is receivers running the same routes. Josh Jacobs and Malik Heath running into each other on that spot. Don't know what they were doing there. Obviously, Jordan was expecting them to mesh just based off of what he was watching. And then another time, too, if you'll remember, you had Josh Jacobs went out. He was supposed to run an out route, and he kind of got there and just turned around and looked at Jordan as he was fading out. It was like he just had a mental lapse there. Other than that, though, Josh Jacobs, man, he's a dog, man. He's kind of become the heart of this team. I really believe that. So he goes on to say, regardless, the offense made critical mistakes. Is it Is it no swag, no tempo? The defense sure showed their emotions, not angry at all today, but it's do or die the rest of the way. We did play the Super Bowl champs, and we had them. We beat ourselves on offensive miscues. That is such an accurate statement there, Cannonball John. And that's the other thing, too, is like I put a tweet out yesterday going, man, if the Packers somehow beat the Eagles, we're going to have all kinds of receipts because everybody expects the Eagles to beat them. Now, there's a few Packer fans that go, you don't have faith in your team, as if that's going to control whether or not they win the ball game. Of course, they don't watch the show and know that I picked the Packers 20-17, but I don't have faith in my team. I was just simply saying people are expecting the Eagles to come in and beat the hell out of the Packers, and that did not happen, right? So there's going to be a portion of the fan base that goes, yeah, Clayton, but I'm tired of it being that way. I am too. You better change something. What do you change? Stop being the youngest team in the league. Stop holding it up like it's a trophy, you know? Part of me gets excited when I hear it, right? Yeah, we're young. That means, man, we got our best football ahead of us and this and that. And then the next year you let a veteran or two walk, and then you have a whole nother draft class come in, and now you got rookies making mistakes, and I got to get on this podcast and go, well, he's a rookie. Rookies make mistakes, you know? Obviously, it doesn't apply to Josh Jacobs, but you guys understand what I'm saying. So he goes on to say, let's see here. Yeah, so we got all that one. All right. So now we got Bob Noxious. I hope I'm saying that right. Says, Love is where things really need to improve. He's missing reads and throwing into tight coverage too often. As Bill Brasky said, he's a bad quarterback when pressured. Fixing the O-line would help, but good quarterbacks can play under pressure. Love stands in the pocket and isn't afraid to take a hit. Kudos for that. I agree. But he needs to make better decisions. Sometimes I think we should give Willis a shot. I disagree with the give Willis a shot. Not saying I'm right and you're wrong, Bob, but everything else you said there, I think is pretty spot on, man. You fix the O-line, it does help, but I can also understand him having the mindset of, yeah, but man, a franchise quarterback, you should be able to handle the pressure, right? That's what you're getting paid $50 million for. And that's the problem with that contract. You hold out for that and you get every penny you can. I'm never going to fault a player for that. But with that is going to come an extra level of criticism, right? It really, really is. So, yeah. All right. And then let's see here. Bob Noxious says, I'm old enough to remember Holmgren calling out Favre for throwing too many interceptions, and that was a focus of his. Favre improved. I'm sure Matt LaFleur is focusing on Love's decisions. We just need to see the improvement. So there you go. Got it. Yeah. Yeah. And that is so true. Holmgren kind of kept Favre in check, right? I think we would all agree with that. When Favre would get too far out there, you know, all the sound bites. No more rocket balls, please. Right? Remember him saying that? And then the story came out that when he played for Mike Sherman jumped Favre's ass over an interception, and Favre said, "What are you going to do about it?" He said that to Mike Sherman. "What are you going to do about it?" And he just grinned, like, "You're not going to bench me." And he was right. So that was kind of the decline of Favre, going from the 3-time MVP Super Bowl champion into still a really good quarterback and plays the game the right way, but you get to that point where your coach can't actually coach you. That's that can be a little tough. That's a tough place to be, man, for sure. So all right, let's see. Let's go to the chat real quick. Nicholas Duran says, we could have helped with the mesh package on some crossers. I really believe Watson across the middle is a cheat code. I agree with that, man, with the crossers. What's his name? Troy Aikman said, you know, he called it a scissors concept. We call that crossers. I've always known scissors as in a 2x2 set, or just a 2 set on one side, meaning there's 2 receivers on one side. One runs a post, one runs a corner. I've always known that as scissors, but I'm not going to argue with a Hall of Fame quarterback, right? I mean, I've got it on my play art here. I ain't going to hold it up for you guys, but I mean, I'll hold it up, but you ain't going to be able to see it. But right here, scissors, right there. That concept, if you can see it. I don't know if you can. That's scissors. So he called a crossers concept scissors, and maybe that is just a bold or a very vague kind of statement for that type of, you know, like mid to deep mesh, essentially. Because what mesh is obviously it's what I think that Malik Heath and Josh Jacobs were supposed to do, or maybe Malik Heath was running a spot route and Josh Jacobs was supposed to continue outside, and they just kind of stopped in the same spot. Again, that's not on Matt LaFleur. That's not on Jordan Love. But there's enough blame to go around for everybody. There's no doubt about that. So, all right, let's see here. J. Cole says, no shade, Clay. I just see things I don't like with our team. No, I got you, man. Listen, we're in here having a respectful conversation. That's it. That's what I love about our crew. And you notice the guy that came in here, like, I don't ever remember us having a conversation with him, right? Like, the outsiders come in here and they want to push their opinion on you and try to make you feel like, no, you're wrong, I'm right. And I want this to be about us coming off the toughest loss. I wouldn't say the toughest loss of the year, to be honest with you. I mean, that's the other thing that gets me, guys, is like, if you're coming into this game, you looked at how everybody had this thing picked, and we've seen how the line opened and it's completely swung back to where it was even, right? And then, of course, we know that with the Packers being the home team, that's 1.5 to 3 point advantage. So it actually means, even though it's showing an even line there right before halftime, it probably finished at a half a point, like sometimes it does. You're actually saying the Eagles are favorites. Everybody picking the Eagles, all this stuff, right? If you told me, hey, Clayton, you're going to lose your starting center in this game against the Eagles, right? And you're going to have a crucial fumble in the middle eight that's going to cost you the middle eight and the turnover differential, I would say we lost that ball game. You know, it is what it is. Got to play better. And again, that fumble, I want to be very clear, guys. That's on Jay Love. I don't care if they came on a jailbreak blitz and the offensive line all laid down and just let them through. Jordan, in that situation, at some point, has got to become the quarterback that goes, I got to lay down here. I got to get rid of the ball. We cannot take a fumble. We cannot have a fumble here, right? Top priority, protect the football. Instead, he's getting tackled and trying to shovel it out and this and that. Now, if he shovels it out and it falls incomplete and there's no grounding call, we're going, great play, right? But I'll be honest with you, in the back of my mind, I'm going, boy, that could have been disastrous. So, yeah, kind of is what it is right there. All right, let's shift gears here. I think we've kind of hit on everything. I'm sorry I couldn't be more involved in the live chat. Obviously, we had the others pulled up, and I trust those in the Patreon group. Not that I don't trust you guys in the YouTube chat, but you know how it is, man. Sometimes I'll fire a comment up there and we damn near get canceled. So we got to be careful there. Let's take one quick look at the playoff predictor. And I apologize for the pace of this show, this specific show here, guys. I just wanted to get in here and just kind of have a conversation, kind of see how you guys feel, how the Patreon group felt, that type of thing. So let's take a look here at the playoff predictor. The updated standings going into week 11. All right. The Packers are the number 7 seed at 5-3 and 1. Is that updated? Yeah, that's right. Yeah. 5-3 and 1. So we're sitting at the number 7 seed at 5-3 and 1. Okay. We're third place in the North as it sits right now. People see that and go, I can't believe this. Calm down. All right. These guys have got to finish strong, just like we got to finish strong. Right. So 5-3 and 1 is where we sit. We're the number 7 seed. Okay, so let's talk about just the NFC North teams this week. All right, let's kind of give you normal scenario first, and then maybe we'll clear it off and go best case scenario, worst case scenario. Okay, so let's say you got the Chicago Bears going into Minnesota. All right, let's go best case scenario first. Okay, let's say the Minnesota Vikings upset the Bears. Bang. All right, now the Bears drop down to number 3 in the North. All right, and they're officially out of the playoffs, sitting there at 6-4. All right. Let's say the Packers take care of business against the Giants. Again, this isn't a prediction. We're just kind of laying out a scenario. Okay. Best case scenario for this coming week in week 11. The Packers win. All right. The Packers are still in second place. They're the number 6 seed in the NFC in the playoffs. Right. Now let's move down to the Lions game. They're playing the Eagles at Philly. Okay. It's going to be a tough game, obviously. I think that's going to be a great game. I'm really interested to watch that and see if the Detroit Lions and the Bears, guys, we got to acknowledge they're on heaters right now. They're playing pretty good football. The Giants gave the Bears that game last week. The Lions looked dominant. But again, I don't mean that like as an insult to the Bears. You got to give the Bears credit. They're figuring out ways to win football games. And they're starting to believe, right? They're starting to believe in themselves. And that's a scary thing. It is, man, for sure. So you got to give credit where it's due. Let's say Philly beats the Lions. So best case scenario, just the NFC North teams coming out of week 11, all of a sudden we're back in first place in the North and we're the number 4 seed in the playoffs, right? So that's best case scenario. All right. Now let's reset it and let's kind of talk about what if half of that happens, right? Let's say that the Bears beat the Vikings, which I think that's pretty reasonable to think they could. Let's say we beat the Giants. I think we should be able to beat the Giants. I think we're 8-point favorites right now. That doesn't mean a hill of beans. Believe me, I know, right? And let's say that the Eagles beat the Lions. Okay. If that happens, the Packers are the 6th seed, the Bears are the 3 seed, and they're leading the North with us being basically a half a game behind the Bears. Okay. So in that scenario, again, the first 2 scenarios, kind of a split scenario and a best case scenario, we are officially still in the playoffs. Right. So now let's reset it And let's go worst case scenario for week 11, right? Let's say the Bears win their game over the Vikings, the Giants upset us, and the Lions win their game. Now the Packers are out of the playoffs with however many games left. What would there be? 6 games left, I believe, if I remember correctly. That would put us, let me do the math real quick. I'm so bad at this, man. So bad at it. How many games would be left there? Be 9, 10. Yeah, so it'd be 7 games left, right? With 7 games left, the Packers are in 3rd place in the North and we're out of the playoffs. Okay. Now we know next week that can quickly turn. That's worst case scenario for this week. Let's just skip ahead to 12 and say, okay, week 12. And worst case scenario that we just laid out, let's say everything goes right for the Packers the next week. Let's say the Giants upset the Lions, the Packers beat the Vikings, and let's say that the Bears get beat by the Steelers. That's all reasonable, right? So with that case, with that happening, of course, that was the where's the Vikings at? Let's make sure we get the Vikings in here too. We already hit. Oh, we were playing the Vikings. Okay, cool. So in that case scenario, best case scenario, the following week, we're still in 3rd place in the North, and we're still out of the playoffs, right? So this week is pretty crucial. We go on to week 13. Let's say it's a normal week. Let's say the Lions. Let's say we go into Detroit and we upset the Lions somehow, some way, right? Let's say we go in there and get that dub on Thanksgiving like we did, whatever it was, 2 years ago when nobody expected us to win. Jordan Love's first year as a starting quarterback. Let's say the Philadelphia Eagles beat the Bears this week, and let's say the Seattle Seahawks beat the Vikings. All of a sudden, we're back in 1st place in the North, and there's still 5 more weeks left in the season. You see what I'm saying? So it's going to be very, very fluid as we go along here. And as you get a little later in there, you're going to see these teams are playing some pretty good teams. Now, obviously, the Lions, they should beat the Cowboys, although you never know, right? Then we got the Bears at Lambeau. Let's say the Packers win that game against the Bears, and let's say the Vikings just win their game just for craps and giggles, right? We're still in 1st place in the North, right? And now the Lions are the number 6 seed, and the Bears are in 3rd place. So you can see how quickly this can swing. So I just wanted to kind of take I like taking a look at that every Monday/Tuesday morning, depending on when the game is played, and just get kind of an update. Here's what we're looking at in the upcoming weeks. I promise you the Packers aren't looking at it this way. You got to take it one game at a time, and they got to figure things out on offense. They got to, man. Protection, the miscues, the mistakes, Jordan Love's accuracy, or not Jordan Love's accuracy, more so. That's the thing, too, is Jordan Love's been accurate, right? I didn't feel like he was inaccurate last night. It was just bad decisions. It was really bad decisions. Kind of felt like he was pressing a little bit, like the pressure got to him. It could be wrong, though. It doesn't help, like they said early, the offensive line in his face and causing problems there. So, all right. So there you go. Again, with everything reset this week, what you've got is currently the Packers are the number 7 seed at 5-3-1. The Bears are the 6th seed at 6-3, and the Lions are the number 3 seed at 6-3. See, I mean, you see, this is a tight race, man. This is going to be so much fun down the stretch. I know people get stressed out when things are this close, but guys, I'm just going to be honest. I live for this time of year. I actually enjoy the final 5, 6, 7 games of the season more than the playoffs because there's just so many moving parts. And now we've got eyes on this game and that game and all that. I love this time of the year, man. It's so much fun. Holidays, everything. So just got to keep it positive a little bit. Now we look at the remaining schedule here. I'm going to try to get an idea of when we can do another watch party because that was a blast the other day doing the hate watch party against the rest of the NFC North. See if we'll have an opportunity to do that this week. I don't think we will. But what we got going on here is, so we're at the Giants 1 o'clock game, right? The Lions are at the Eagles for Sunday Night Football. Okay, got it. And then the Bears and the Vikings play at 1 o'clock. So unfortunately, the Bears and the Vikings are going to be playing the same time we are. So the good thing about that is we can, in our post-game show after the Giants game, we can give you guys a quick recap of what happened with the Bears game against Bears-Vikings. We're going to be Vikings fans this week, guys. I hate purple. I hate the Vikings, but I pray to sweet baby Jesus they knock off the Bears and kind of give us. That's the other thing, too. These other teams could stumble at any moment. You just can't count on that. You got to go out and try to play your best football. And I know these guys are. So there you go. So that's it, guys. I'm going to wrap up here. Thank y'all. I didn't expect this many people to jump in here. I really appreciate y'all hanging out with us. If you would hit that like button, hit subscribe, click that bell icon so you're notified when we go live in the future. If you're on X, hop over to YouTube, hit subscribe for us real quick, and you can be a part of the conversation. It's a lot easier for you to see everybody else's comments, and y'all can kind of hang out. I love our comments because it kind of monitors itself. We got a great group of fans in here that want to talk ball and do it in a respectful way. Everybody's opinions welcome. Just don't come in here being an ass like what's his name was. He got his feelings hurt, and now looks like he's going to unsub. Oh, no. That sucks. So, anyway, with that being said, thanks to the Patreon group, too. We will see you guys tonight, 6 p.m. Central for PTA Live. We're going to look at the PFF grades. We're going to give our opinion compared to the PFF grades. Here's what we think we've seen, what we disagree with, all that good stuff. I got to start diving into the tape and try to get us a Chalk Talk ready. It may be Thursday before we do Chalk Talk, but I'm excited about looking at that, too, because there's some, like I want to revisit that Watson helmet play, right? I want to revisit those receivers running the same routes. I want to revisit the fumble that Jordan had. Am I being too hard on him, not protecting the football in that situation? Open receivers all night. On the All-22, we should be able to see it, right? Hey, here's another open receiver on this play. He just missed him. The 4th-and-1 run. Who got blew up on the offensive line? I don't care if they guessed that it was inside zone. Surprise, 99% of the defenses in the league is going to think inside zone right here. With the Packers trying to get 1 yard on the 4th down, right? And we'll truly evaluate the offensive line as well. So tonight we're going to be giving away the autographed Lucas Van Ness rookie card. Hopefully we get him back soon too. And that's the other thing, man. We're sitting here talking about how bad the offense was. Hopefully we get Jaden Reed back soon. Jaden Reed is kind of the cog that makes this offense go. You get him and Christian Watson on the field at the same time. We should be getting Matthew Golden back, I would imagine. Hopefully that shoulder injury isn't that bad. He'll miss multiple weeks. I thought Luke Musgrave did pretty decent, although it'll probably make Chalk Talk. That was a tough look when he didn't lower his shoulder and run for that 1st down. He just kind of fell underneath the defenders. You got to pick that up there, man. You just got to. So, got to. All right. That's it, guys. Everybody have a wonderful evening. We'll see y'all tonight. And, as always, man, go Pack, go. This is PTA. My name's Clayton, and we will see y'all later.
There we go.
Bye, guys.